Hey guys, so we're doing another foundation wear test. I feel like I'm being bombarded by foundations and mascaras. I don't know, I guess it's just that time of the year. But today we're going to be playing with the new Chanel Le Beige Healthy Glow Foundation, Hydration, and Longwear. I have it in the shade B20, and I did also repurchase their Longwear Concealer in 20 Beige. I had long kind of decluttered this because I was pretty much getting down to the bottom of it, and it was getting old, and you know how concealers dry out. So anyway, I've been wanting to repurchase this. I went ahead and did so. So we're going to be playing around with these two things. So I purchased this off of the Chanel site. So I was really excited to try this new Le Beige foundation. It has like the beige CCs on the cap, which is really cool. And I am, as you guys know, like a really huge fan of this Le Beige foundation. And this is the Sheer Healthy Glow moisturizing tint with an SPF 30. So I'm assuming this one's going to have a little bit more coverage, and this does not have an SPF in there. So I'm going to go ahead and shake it up. I think there's a pump, right? Oh yeah, there's a pump. I was afraid it was just a bottle. And I'm gonna pump some out onto the back of my hand. So here is B20, and there's the texture, slightly runny. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna apply it to one side of my face first so we can check out the coverage. There is that Chanel fragrance, and I'm just using my BK Beauty 101 foundation brush. So while I'm blending this in, I'm on the Chanel site, and it says that this is a light to medium coverage fluid foundation that lasts up to 12 hours and features a weightless texture and radiant finish for a natural, healthy looking glow. So this is gonna be a nice change from all of those like radiant, soft matte foundations that I've been trying. It has light reflecting pigments. It's made of over 40% water. The long-wearing formula is enriched with moisturizing ingredients that hydrate skin immediately and for up to 12 hours. It definitely feels like upon immediate application, it does feel like a little cooling, so I can feel that water in there. And it is very, very lightweight. That blended in really quickly. And they do recommend to either use fingers or a foundation brush. And let's see how many shades there are. And it retails for $60, and there are 35 shades available. So for reference, in this Le Beige foundation, I use the shade Light. They don't have numbers for this foundation. And for other Chanel products, I always kind of tend to get number 20, and that works for me. So you can use that as reference if you have a similar skin tone to mine. I really do like how this feels. Very, very cooling. Really, really weightless. I really don't feel anything on my skin at all. And I do think the shade works for me, so that is great. All right, so there it is on half of my face. And I do see a little bit of coverage, like a light medium. You can very clearly still see like my sunspots, a little bit of my hyperpigmentation here. I personally love coverage like this, like the light medium kind of coverage where your skin still kind of shines through. But I can see that it's like really dampened the redness around my nose. This is really kind of more of a solid light medium. I do like the natural kind of sheen that it's giving me. I don't feel like I look oily or greasy. I don't feel like there's, I don't know, like little highlighting bits in there or anything like that. It just looks very naturally radiant. My skin just looks like moisturized. It just looks very, very healthy. So I do think the coverage for this foundation is heavier than this one. This one definitely is like a light, and this one is definitely more of like a light medium. Yeah, it's really just very, very natural. I don't feel like it is emphasizing my lines or anything. I don't think it's necessarily like blurring out my pores here, but I don't feel like they're being emphasized either. And it's been about 5 minutes since I applied it, and I don't see any oxidization. I don't feel like it's turning, colors. I don't think it's deepening or anything like that. I still think it's a fairly decent match to my neck. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply to the rest of my face. Yeah, it's sitting really nicely on the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom up close and pan down from my forehead to my chin so you guys can take a close look. But if you are new to my channel here, I have very dry, sensitive skin, It is eczema prone, and I've had really horrible bouts of eczema in the past, and I have a little bit of scarring here on my forehead. So I usually look there to see if foundations are kind of catching on any sort of texture or really just not kind of like laying nicely against my skin. But I feel like this foundation is looking really nice up there, and it's looking really nice around my eyes. Again, not really emphasizing my lines, not really making my eye area look dry at all. It's also sitting around my nose, which can sometimes be a problem area, along with my mouth. That can also be a problem area, but everything looks good so far. All right, well, I'm really excited for this wear test because I am very much enjoying the look of this foundation so far. But let's go ahead and jump over to this longwear concealer. This is not a new product at all. This, like I mentioned, this is like a repurchase for me. I haven't used it in so long, and I'm just kind of curious to know if I still love it as much as I used to. So I have it in the shade 20 Beige, and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply some to my under eye here. And this just comes in like a very typical tube with a doe foot applicator. And I really, really like this concealer because it has a very light formula, and the coverage, I would say, is like a medium. I feel like it does a good job brightening, and I don't necessarily have like very dark under eyes, but I do have discoloration, which I really like to blank out because that slight discoloration, it just tends to make me look very tired. And if I remember correctly, I feel like this has like a gel kind of formula. Yes, I did remember correctly. So their description on the site is, it's a long-lasting correction meets comfortable wear with the best loved concealer featuring a lightweight gel-based texture for seamless buildable light to medium coverage. So this comes in 8 different shades and it retails for $43. This, I remember being a great concealer match to foundations with like a light to light medium coverage. I never really like using a super high coverage concealer with a light coverage foundation because it's very obvious. So I remember loving pairing this with lighter coverage foundations like this one. So I think this is actually like a really great pair. So I'm gonna zoom in again so you guys can see the concealer under my eyes, but it's like undetectable. It's really, really amazing. Doesn't emphasize my lines. It doesn't look cakey. There's no obvious kind of like color discrepancy or anything or formula discrepancy. It really just blends in super seamlessly. Oh, I'm so glad I repurchased this. So I am going to do, well, I'm going to try and do a natural light check-in, but if you guys watch my Clé de Peau Radiant Fluid Matte Foundation wear test, I mentioned at the end that I couldn't really do it because all the smoke from the California wildfires has come over here to Las Vegas. And so the coloring and the sky and the lighting, it's very, very odd looking, but it's a very windy day here. And I think the wind is blowing the smoke away. It's picking up a lot of dust. So it's still kind of like cloudy here, but at least like the light isn't a weird kind of tint. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at my first check-in. Hey guys, it's about 2:30 in the afternoon. So I've had this makeup on for about 5.5 hours, and I just had lunch. I just had like a really greasy cheeseburger. It doesn't look like it's worn off in like a weird way. I just feel like right around my lips, it definitely looks a little bit worn off. Anyway, the foundation is looking really, really nice. I feel like my radiance is definitely like maintained, but I don't feel like my natural oils are kind of taking over and I look too greasy or too oily. So after 5.5 hours, I think that's actually pretty good. I should let you know that I have a little bit of Chanel pressed powder on, like a very small amount. I have a very small amount of some Chanel bronzer on, a Chanel powder blush. I did not put on any highlight. And then I just have, you know, eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, and I had some lip gloss, but that has that's worn off from lunch. But anyway, so I do have a little bit of powder on, is my point in telling you all of that. So that definitely is probably helping a little bit, but I was sure to apply just like the lightest amount of powder. But it's looking really good. And I really like this, the radiance that it has. It's very, very natural. It's very light. It's not like super glowy. I think it's really awesome, like if you just want like a healthy kind of appearance to your complexion and you have maybe like normal combo skin. I never can say for sure about oily skin since mine is so dry, but I think if you have like normal combo skin, I think this foundation would work for you too, but only time will tell. So let's go ahead and take a look at my final check-in. Hello, it is a little after 6 o'clock, so I've had this makeup on for over 9 hours. I think it has held up decently. I have been out and about quite a bit today. I've had my face mask on and off at least 3 or 4 times, and I had to wait in line outside someplace, so I did kind of get a little schwitzy. So the one thing I notice the most here is that I feel like it's wearing away on my forehead here. In not such a great way. I mean, I think you have to be pretty up close to me to notice. And what I've done is actually snap some photos in natural light for you guys. So I'm just gonna zoom in here first so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But there's just this spot, actually it's right along my hairline here. I don't know if that's from the sweat. I don't know if that's just kind of like the way this is wearing away on my forehead. I think I mentioned in the intro that I do have like a little bit of funky skin up here on my forehead just from like past eczema that I've had. It's sort of like scarring. And so like the texture of my skin here is a little bit different. So let me go ahead and just show you some of these snapshots. So again, this is in natural light. I just took them. So the sun is setting and I just took some kind of, you know, on each side of my face. I did take one kind of head on so that you could see it around my nose and my mouth area where I think it does look decent, again, especially because I've been wearing a mask. Other than this, I think this foundation has actually worn really well. I am starting to see like a little bit of my own oils kind of coming through. The tip of my nose looks pretty shiny. This part of my face that always seems to get shiny after like a long wear test is shiny. I feel like my natural oils are coming through, and right here in the center between my eyebrows and like the center of my forehead. And for a foundation like this, which is called Healthy Glow and it does tout its hydration, I'm not surprised about this. I am pleasantly surprised, however, that it doesn't look even more oily. I feel like I just look like I have a nice kind of healthy glow to my skin and I don't necessarily look oily or greasy or sweaty in any way. I will also say that I think, at least aside from this part of my forehead, the long wear aspect of this foundation, I will have to agree with. I was actually very surprised that when I took on and off my mask, I did not see any remnants of the foundation on my mask. I was wearing a silk mask and I don't see any sort of wearing away of the mask. I had it, you know, over my nose and it probably came right underneath my cheekbone here. And I don't see any kind of marks or disturbances or anything from the mask in the foundation. And I feel like the redness around the base of my nose is still camouflage. So it is definitely still there. So I am very impressed with what has happened down here, again, with the mask wearing. So I think this foundation has done a really good job, mostly except for this strange skin I have on my forehead, but everywhere else I feel like it has done such a good job kind of staying put. It didn't oxidize, it didn't break up strangely, it didn't sink into my fine lines, it didn't emphasize any of my lines underneath my eyes. This concealer is really awesome. I think my under eyes still look really moisturized and really smooth. And overall, I think this is a great kind of like lightweight, light medium kind of coverage, kind of like an everyday kind of foundation. I think it's really wonderful. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.